Okay, so who is the best Misfortune player? I mean, of course my name is MissFortuneDaBes, but who is actually the best? Is it Gumayusi or Doublelift or any other pro player for that matter? Figuring this out is quite important because we want to learn from the best and most consistent Misfortune solo queue player there is. And I think I found him. So, while these pro players have godlike fundamentals, of course, we cannot ignore the fact that they hardly even play Misfortune. They don't know the ins and outs of the champion, they don't play nearly enough MF to have experienced every matchup in solo queue, and a person who touches Misfortune so rarely can hardly be called the best Misfortune player. In order to be the best Misfortune player, you have to be a Misfortune player. So I looked at every single high elo AD carry and plotted their elo against their Misfortune play rate. Having done that, this is the person who is both most active and most successful on the champion. They play tons of Misfortune on a regular basis, which means they even play bad matchups, all while firmly sitting in Master 400-ish LP. Their build and playstyle is battle-tested and proven successful, and the footage you saw in this video so far is from this player, of course. But let's have a closer look now at the exact playstyle and setup. The first and most important thing I want to draw attention to, because so many players do it wrong, is how they use their keystone First Strike while fighting. Many people just see the 3 seconds duration on First Strike and the 3 seconds duration on Misfortune's ultimate and think they have to always match MF ultimate with the keystone. But as you can see, the rank 1 Misfortune does it very differently and for good reason. Here the keystone is not ready, but the rank 1 player fires R anyway. The situation should dictate your ult usage, not your keystone. The thing is, just ulting because you can match it with First Strike is usually just greedy and bad logic, even though it looks sound at a first glance. In much too many cases, your ult simply goes to waste and it will now be on cooldown for a situation in which you really would have needed it. In most situations it is optimal to start with E ensuring First Strike and then follow up with Q and Auto instead of ult, since these tools deal massive damage with the build too. Only when the enemy manages to get out of range do you finally press R. Your First Strike might be used up here, but your ult doesn't need a damage buff that badly since it overkills most of the time anyway. Instead, you should treat ult as a range extender. If not as a range extender, your ult is mainly used as a disengage tool. Should the enemy try to approach an objective nearby, such as your tower or a jungle monster, you can use ults to invalidate their engage, and here you will actually often have the First Strike R combo. Guarding objectives is most common here, but in the late game you can also use it to guard your teammates, protecting them during a siege without putting yourself at risk. Laying down a safety zone with your R forces the enemy to disengage fast or die. Seeing this assassin-like playstyle, you can probably already guess that Misfortune's dueling is a lot less reliable when compared to more conventional marksmen. The longer a duel goes, the worse for you. In such situations, you have to refresh your passive as often as possible and hope for the best, really. During the lane phase, you will have to cope with these 1v1 dueling situations much more often. It is usually advisable to pay the enemy some respect and back off, but you can come out on top in these fights if you manage your laugh tab correctly. Minions are your friends. However, you are usually better off employing a hit-and-run strategy using the extended range from your Q bounces to deal chip damage. By keeping the enemy on lower health this way, it makes it more difficult for them to play for their win condition, which would be these extended duels. Be aware though that good enemies will try to avoid your bounces, but here simply Q auto them directly before then backing off. For the rank 1 player's rune page, I already mentioned the keystone First Strike. It's a great scaling rune accelerating your build, and in the late game it is actually also a significant damage multiplier. With cashback as well, you get your items even faster. This matters for any champion, but especially with lethality items this is crucial. The earlier you get these items the better, since lethality is best against low-level targets due to how armor scaling works. Biscuits are for the lane of course, and Cosmic Insight mostly for your flash cooldown. Presence of Mind is super important as it is your only mana supply. And I say this as a die-hard Gathering Storm person, but Coup de Grace is actually crazy here since you get so much AD from items. The rank 1 player always goes for Hubris, tier 1 boots, Collector and IE. In the late game you want Last Whisper, or a Last Whisper item, and Edge of Night in any order you seem fit. Finally, sell boots for Bloodthirster or Guardian Angel, or maybe even more of Malmortius depending on the matchup. As you see, the build strikes a nice balance between massive ult damage and huge damage with Q and Auto, and the synergy with your runes is much better in practice than it seems on paper. All the AD, especially from Hubris, makes the percent increases from Coup de Grace and First Strike incredibly potent. I try to keep videos like this one under 5 minutes and I'm already pushing the limit I assume, but the next video on my YouTube channel will be a full game analysis of our Misfortune main here, so check that out as soon as possible if you enjoy.